Interesting. Very interesting. All right, this works. Fantastic. Okay. And wow, okay. Interesting. Okay, so for anyone that is watching right now, I am testing live streaming on YouTube and Twitch at the same time in Streamlabs to see how this works. And so far it looks like it's working okay, which is cool. But I'm going to test for a few more minutes and then watch this back after as well. So I can see myself on multiple screens here, which is crazy. Noisy Lake Management, Amazon. What do you mean exactly by Amazon ad? Do you mean you had an ad at the start of this live stream, or what happened exactly? I'm curious. And Noisy Lake Management, it looks like you're on Twitch in the stream, which is awesome. Let me see if I can actually type back to you here. I'm still learning this as we go, of course. So, Noisy Lake Management, what do you mean by... Oh, okay. So there was an Amazon ad at the start of this live stream. I don't know why I'm typing this and speaking it. I'm sure you can hear me. Otherwise, you're not really making the most out of Twitch. if you're just looking at a stream, I don't think the subtitles could keep up with my ramblings. There's an Amazon ad on Twitch before going onto the stream. Got it. Okay. Just having a look to see, it looks like my CPU is freaking out for some reason. I don't know why. I have a pretty current iMac, but I am just going to close some windows here and see if that makes any difference. I was recording the podcast just before, so that could be the case. Let's try this. Definitely do not need Zoom open right now. Okay. Still looks like it is. I'm going to add this to my footer, whatever that means. Okay. Looks like we're dropping frames as well. Interesting. Yeah, it's weird that it's lagging because I have nothing else open on this computer now. So I'm just going to give it a minute, do some adjustments here and see what I can do. Also, holy cow, yeah, it's really struggling now. That's weird. Okay, so all that I have open is Streamlabs, and it still is freaking out. Unreal. So when you said the earlier info, did you catch the previous stream where I was talking about the Spotify promo cards? Oh my gosh. I was talking about Spotify promo cards, and I was recording my podcast episode and I put that up. Actually, that reminds me, I'm curious to know what your opinion is about this, but I was going to record a podcast episode about this little hack I found in Instagram where you can change the app icon. It's more like an Easter egg than anything. It's not going to benefit you as a user, but it looks cool and it's fun, and people love new stuff like that when no one else knows. So I'm thinking about doing that as an episode of the podcast, because every episode is less than 4 minutes. So if I can tell you something you didn't know that's cool, I enjoy doing that as well. I like to show people little fun things that you can do and try and show off and impress your friends and say, look at my Instagram icon. So I'm going to do that in a second. Actually, I could probably do that right now. Yeah, why not? So the way I record my podcast is very, very basic. I have my phone and I have the Anchor app. You can use whatever you want to record podcasts. I just use Anchor. I find it's easiest for me because when I was traveling a lot last year, I would record my podcast on the go. When I had a guest, I would use my Apogee Mic Plus, and this little gizmo was all I needed. And I would put this between myself and the guest, adjust the volume, make sure they spoke at the same volume as me, and simply connect it up to my phone with the lightning cable. Actually, that's USB 3.0, but there is a lightning cable for it as well. And that would be all that I would take. And that would be more than sufficient. And a lot of the podcasts I did with people like Sherry Hu and Dom Alessio were recorded with this exact microphone in the middle of us in the room, and that was it. As easy as that. So, it's sometimes you don't need these big fancy setups, and sometimes it's easier not to, because you can just record a podcast anywhere you are. Just go into a quiet room and pick up your phone and record. Most people are listening in their headphones and they've got 5 other things going on and they don't notice a little bit of background noise. So yeah, just keep it real and get it out as quickly as you can, and keep it short, most importantly. Let me see what's going on here. It looks like that train wreck of a live stream that I did on just YouTube before is now on my channel. So I may delete that in a second because there was no value in that. It was just me testing. I don't think people need to see that. Oh, and now I have access to YouTube stories as well, because everyone needs to post stories everywhere. Let me see. With Instagram, what I need to do here. Okay. Wow. I just noticed that Amazon Music for Artists are shouting me out on their social media for telling people something that they told people, but I guess they appreciated me telling people as well. That's what it's all about. You could get your information from me or Amazon Music themselves, but just get it, use it. That's pretty much it. If you don't like my accent, there'll be someone with a different accent that will tell you the same information, so go for it. Where do you podcast to? I've been using Podbean because I needed 2 hours. Spotify cancelled my channel because it didn't follow their rules. Whoa. Okay, I'm guessing that maybe were you doing a music podcast, because that's the only podcast I've seen Spotify take down, is if you are just playing music in your podcast or a DJ set or things like that. They have to be all pre-cleared. Every song has to be pre-cleared, which is impossible for most people to be able to get done. That's why it's mostly large DJs and major labels are still able to do their podcasts and have music in them, because they can get everything cleared very quickly with all their connections. As far as where do I podcast to, I have a list. So I aim to put my podcast out absolutely everywhere. And for the reason that I don't expect people to go and only listen on Apple or Spotify, I want it to be available as many places as possible. So let me get the list and I can tell you right now. I'm going to run through it. Amazon Music, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Deezer, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Overcast, Pocket Casts, Pandora, Podbean, Radio Public, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. So all of those, it is confirmed on, and I have links to them on my website as well. So you can go to workhardplaylisthard.com and then click on the podcast button to see that. And yeah, all of that is done by me recording directly into the Anchor app and then distributing to all of those. Some of them Anchor weren't distributing to automatically, such as Deezer and Pandora and Amazon Music. So I actually went and found all of the URLs where I could add in my RSS feed for my podcast and get it onto all of those platforms as well. I was fortunate with Amazon Music that they sent out a email just as it was starting, and I jumped on it at the opportunity to get my podcast into Amazon Music. And it's a very brief form, and they're really quick to respond right now because obviously they're trying to get as many podcasts on there as they can. But it's cool because it's just another place that I can reach people, and that's what it's all about, reaching as many people as I can and helping as many people as I can, and anyone that wants to listen. So I am looking at Amazon. Got to stop saying Amazon. Anyone who think I'm sponsored by them. I'm looking at Instagram for this hack and just seeing what needs to be done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to record my podcast episode about this Instagram hack because I think it's pretty cool, and it's going to be a very short episode, and it's definitely worth doing. And you can see that I record my podcast in one take, and I just have my phone mounted just off screen, and I talk directly into my phone. I don't even use the microphone, even though I'm at home. It's just that way it's consistent. It always sounds the same. I could be in not that I will be anytime soon, but I could be in a hotel the other side of the world, and it's going to sound exactly the same. So I'm just familiarizing myself with what I will be saying in this episode because I don't like to script it. I like to know roughly what I'm going to say, and I have little keywords, but then I just freestyle it because otherwise it sounds too robotic. So you're going to get to see me typing a few quick notes and looking around the screen here. So let me see. Noisy Lake Management. It's an unsigned music radio show. It was a radio show on a community radio station. I quit my job, so I started doing my show as a podcast. Okay, so yeah, you were playing music, which is really disappointing. I feel like there was a few cool apps that were allowing pretty much anyone to have their own radio station. Station Head was one of them. And what would happen is, to make it legit, you would essentially have a playlist and you would load that in from Apple Music or Spotify, and then people would log into the app and they would log in with their Apple Music or Spotify, and they would be listening in sync with everyone else around the world as if it was a radio station, and all of that was playing in real time. The best part is you have 20,000 listeners. That's 20,000 people listening to that artist at that exact second. Obviously, that generates some pretty interesting stats for the artist, and it can definitely give them a very, very significant boost in listeners. And so I would love to see more development on that side, because I feel like the opportunity to make it interactive and host it but still have music playing and it was legit is really cool. And then surely for them to just tack on a offline or a recorded show function to the end of that shouldn't be that hard to do, because if the show consists of 10 songs that are all on Spotify and the show is on Spotify, it should easily be able to just have the talk breaks that aren't monetized, and then all the songs in between play. And yeah, I could see it working like a playlist essentially. And in the Spotify app on your phone, only in the app on your phone, if you create a new playlist, you can have a playlist that consists of podcasts and music. So what you could do is create a podcast where each episode is just the talking part, and then on the playlist you have podcast episode, song, podcast episode, song, down through that playlist. So that way the streams of the podcast are counting. You can have your sponsors in there, so you can make some money out of that. The song will play as part of that podcast, and then the artist gets their stream and everyone's happy. So for some reason, Spotify only allow you to create those playlists in the Spotify app on your phone. But if you create a new playlist, you can add podcast episodes and music into the same playlist. And I've done it. If you want to see, it's on my Spotify user profile, and it's called A Playlist of Podcast Episodes About Playlists. Very easy to say. I was talking about Instagram and I got distracted. Just went off on one of my little, whatever you want to call it. So I am going to type up some notes right now for what I'm going to roughly say in this episode. Cool. I taught you something new. I love that. It's a really interesting that they never really advertised it, and maybe that's a podcast episode in itself. But there's many use cases for that. As a band, you could do your own making of the album, where each podcast episode could be a few minutes long, and you talk about a track on the album, and then that playlist introduces people to your podcast, and it encourages them to play and listen all the way through, and you can keep going from there. So yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to do a podcast and music playlist episode of the podcast as well. And that's such a tongue twister. I'm going to have to word that better. But I do. Okay, so Instagram, you get to see how many things go through my head at the same time right now. And Instagram, I'm just checking to make sure the fan's on. It's getting a little toasty. Instagram, and then press settings. Okay, I'm almost ready. Hang tight. Screenshot that. Yes. Then send that to myself. Okay, so now I have that. And right. Okay, let's give the computer a second to cool down. And I am going to jump into the Anchor app, and yeah, I'm ready to do this. So very straightforward. I have the Anchor app installed on my phone. I used to do it on the computer, and I realized the microphone in my phone is actually better than the standard one built into my computer. And most people listen on their phone, so it's like I'm talking directly to them, which is my intention. Okay, so I need to create a new episode, tools, and I'm almost ready to press record, and you're going to get to see if I can do this in one take or if I have to do a new take. As I mentioned, I don't edit the podcast anymore. It's just one shot because that's the way it should be. If I make a little mistake, I keep going. If I make a big mistake, then sure, I'll stop. So let me just check on this. Cool, and it looks like we're still live streaming on both locations. So let me swap this around so I'm looking a little more at the microphone. And let me make sure that everything else is stopped on here. Okay, here we go. Going to record a podcast episode about the Instagram app icon hack, we're going to call this. And we're just going to give my computer a second to cool itself down, seeing as it sounds like it's freaking the heck out. And I'm going to move my phone a little further away. This might actually be a little more exciting for everyone if you can see a little bit of my phone on the screen here. And then let me do this. Shuffling, shuffling. Okay, here goes. So just going to move this up a tiny bit higher so you can actually see. It's just me talking into my phone, no microphone attached. It's as basic and as easy as that. And I'm going to record this very short episode of the podcast about the Instagram app icon hack. And you're going to see me doing a bit of this while I record and post in the chat while we're here, and let's rock it. Welcome to the latest episode of the Streamlabs podcast. Today I'm going to be speaking about the Instagram app icon hack. Now, if you're not familiar with this, it's almost an Easter egg, if you will. It's a fun little thing that I found. It doesn't change your Instagram experience when you're in the app. It's not going to give you anything special, but it is really cool, and it's a fun little trick that you might like to do to show other people and wow them. So try it out. It takes you less than 30 seconds, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So if you have the Instagram app on your phone, you're going to go into the app. You're going to tap in the top right corner where you see the three lines that look like a hamburger, basically. Once you tap on that, you'll see the menu on the right-hand side, and you will press Settings. From here, you'll have the Settings menu with all the options down below. If you press your finger anywhere on that Settings menu and hold and drag your finger down, what will happen is you'll see some little emojis appearing. You'll see a finger pointing up and a birthday cake and a few other things. Keep pulling and you'll see a message that will show at the top, and it says, "Celebrate with us. To celebrate our birthday this month, we're inviting you to change your app icon to your favorite below. Thanks for being part of our story and using Instagram to share yours." And then it has a number of app icons that you can change the icon to. They have the current Instagram Polaroid camera app icon, and they have a number of others in there, various colors and patterns and things like that. So try it out. As I mentioned, it does not take long at all. You don't have to download any extra stuff or do anything crazy. It's just an Easter egg, essentially, if you will, more than a hack. But go into the Instagram app, and I'll repeat those steps one more time, and I will put them in the show notes as well for you. So in the app, tap the hamburger icon with the three lines, tap on Settings, push your finger on the Settings menu and pull down. All the way down, you get the message saying that you can now change the icon for the app to whatever you would like. And once you select that, you're done. For anyone that's curious, I changed my app icon to Twilight, but I'd be curious to hear what you used for yours. You can reach me on social media at Ask Mike Warner, AskMikeWarner. If you found this valuable, please feel free to share it with a friend. As always, I intend to keep these episodes short, sweet, sharp, shiny, and straight to the point so that you can get what you need and get back to doing what you do best, whatever that may be. Thanks for listening, and take care of yourselves. And that's it. I think I breathed in the middle there at one point, but that's how I do it. Sometimes I have episodes where it's a little different. It almost feels like somebody triggered me and said something to get me a little worked up. Usually if somebody wants to engage in payola or something terrible like that, I'll start to have almost a little rant episode. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give this episode a name. Actually, this segment a name. So Instagram app icon hack. I don't know where that voice came from. And I am ready to publish this bad boy. And let me see what episode number I am up to. So massive freeze. So I'm just going to share the podcast. Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle here with Streamlabs. I don't know why just using my external webcam and talking is causing my computer to freak the hell out. But it's trial and error, and we'll keep going with it. I may, at this rate, if I can't work out why I'm having this trouble in Streamlabs, I may go back to StreamYard or Restream and try them out and see if it's any better. I don't know why it would be, because this is a separate app on my desktop, and Restream and StreamYard make you do it within a web browser. But whatever it takes to get this working properly and not have any of these weird delays. And for this weird icon thingy, I'm going to be posting this episode in just a second so that you can actually listen and try this. So that way you get to see behind the scenes of the recording, and you get to go and listen almost immediately and see what it sounds like. So let me jump in here. And what I'm doing is just checking to see what episode number we are up to. So we are in the 3rd season, and the next episode is episode 19. And my computer sounds like it's going to crap out, which is ridiculous because I'm on one website. Let's see what we can do about this. Bear with me if this freezes up. We're gonna get this working. Okay. Here we go. So this is the Instagram app icon app hack. And then I already forgot the episode number I need to put, so let me try that one more time. I swear I usually have a pretty good memory. Maybe. Episode 19, okay. And then what I will do is I will use a picture of the hack as the image for the podcast episode. Before you even listen all the way into the podcast, you get to see what it looks like. Let's see. Boom. Love it. Cool. Awesome. So I have the image up. I have the podcast ready. And now I'm just typing in the show notes quickly. Noisy Lake Management. When you say that StreamYard are a bit too quirky, what do you mean exactly? I found that it was relatively easy and clean, and it worked well. I mean, there were some features in there that I kind of looked at and said I don't really need, but I don't have a problem with these extra features. I look like I'm doing a duck pose. I'll send on Twitter. Oh, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's exactly what I need. Oh, well, you know, this is why we try these. And fortunately, I'm not hosting a workshop where I've invited 14,000 people from the mailing list to see me doing a duck face for 5 minutes because the fucking screen is frozen. I hope you can still hear me at least. Anyway, I'm going to type the episode description here. All right. Oh boy, is it still frozen? Like, can you hear me? You just can't see me? Okay, hearing is fine. Well, I guess that's the most important thing. You don't need to see my face moving that much. I am... Okay, so it's weird. I have to type, but I can't just have people watching me type. I feel like I need to be a bit more entertaining. But what I'm doing right now is just typing up the show notes before I press publish, so that for anyone that just heard that podcast episode I recorded and didn't quite catch something that I said, it will be in the notes and you can follow that as well. And then what I also do is convert it to a blog post, because why the hell not? And then I'll post that on social media. I'm sure 1 million people have beat me to it, but there might be some people that missed it and they hear it from me first, and that's cool. I don't really mind. I just like to make sure that they hear it somewhere. So in the Instagram app, tap the person icon. So wherever you are in the Instagram app, you will see that icon. Love a frozen image. Is it best to say tap or press? I mean, it's an app, so I feel like people are used to tapping the screen or swiping on the screen. I'm just trying to get my language correct in a way that it's clear for everyone. Tap the person icon in the bottom right corner. Tap the 3 lines or icon in the top right corner. Press and hold anywhere in that menu and drag your finger down. Oh, settings. Tap. Keep your finger press and 1, 2, 3, 4. emojis will show. As pictured. In the artwork for this episode. Okay, I've got this episode ready to post. I'll try to correct that spelling mistake. And then I'm going to also shamelessly include my own Instagram at the end of the show notes in there so that people can follow me on Instagram if they would like to see pictures of what I drank on the weekend, and not much else right now. So let me press the publish button, and it is going out to the world right now. Instagram app icon hack. And it should be almost instant within Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and the rest are pretty quick to follow. But yeah, for anyone that would like to go and find that episode of the podcast and listen to it, you can go to workhardplaylisthard.com, click on podcast, and all of the links will be there so you can listen wherever you would like. Noisy Lake Management, with StreamYard and some other things, it's like when Microsoft Word had the dog or the paperclip for guidance, speech bubble, click here now, oh, don't forget to try premium. Yeah, I hear that. I mean, for me, the reason I stepped away from StreamYard is that I was really getting into Twitch as my main focus, and I wanted to see how quickly I could not master Twitch, but become better at it so that I could actually start talking to artists about Twitch. So yeah, it's I'm still learning as I go, and I don't know why I'm having this trouble with Streamlabs and what I need to do, but I know that I have broadcast to Twitch before through StreamYard and not had any problems, and this is a newer computer with a lot of RAM, a lot of, you know, the hard disk is only half full. There's a terabyte of storage space on here, and I have an external webcam, so I'm going to keep playing around and keep experimenting and see what I can do. But the other option I have is, I mean, I'm just talking right now, and that's it. Streamlab do have an app for the phone, and I find that tends to work better and not lag, which sounds ridiculous at the processing power in a phone versus a computer. But if that's what it has to be to get it to work, then I'm going to do that. I was just live on YouTube before in the YouTube app on my phone directly testing, and I'm about to go and watch that video back and see what it looked like and if that worked, because then I can actually put that YouTube stream key into, what am I saying? Yeah, essentially I'm wondering if I could start the stream in the YouTube app and then push it elsewhere. Which way is my hat meant to go? That's not right. There we go. I'm not trying to have this big sideways hat action. I usually go straight. Nope. This camera's throwing me off. So Noisy Lake Management, I appreciate you sharing the shite out of that. That's fantastic. It's I actually put out 2 podcast episodes today now. So there was the Spotify promo codes and the Instagram app icon hack. I was intending to record an episode about new updates with Amazon merch for artists, but there's still some details I'm trying to find out. I don't want to give people all this information without telling them how they can do it themselves, how they can get access, and what it works. I mean, how it works. It looks like there's an application process to get into the Amazon merch store, and then you have to upload designs and get approval, and then you have to apply to the Amazon merch for artists team to get that approved, so that then I guess ideally you'll be able to sell merch within your live streams and within Amazon Music, which would be awesome. Because Amazon obviously can print and ship on demand, or you can ship it to their fulfillment center and they can ship it out for you and handle all of that for a fee. So exciting to see what's happening there, but don't want to speak on it until I know more and I have the right information to put forward. Oh, man. Okay. I'm going to start losing my voice soon. I've been talking a lot today. It's really bloody hot in here. So I am going to jump offline for now. And next time I live stream, I'm going to be using a different method to see if that works better. So if anyone happens to have a connection at Restream or StreamYard, I'd love a promo code so I can test it out. Otherwise, I'll just have to cough it up. But I always like to get a free trial before I commit to subscribing and forking over money. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Noisy Lake Management. I appreciate you sharing the shite out of the podcast, and maybe don't share the shite out of this stream if it kept freezing the whole time. I'm going to come back next time, and it's going to be better. So thanks for watching.